So we have Mahomes in the top tier. I don't think anyone has any differences there, right?
I don't know. No, just kidding.
I'm not sure about that one. I have elite franchise QBs as Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, and Justin Herbert. I guess the borderline one here for me was probably Hurts. I wasn't really sure about it, but he hasn't necessarily done anything to make me think he's not. And that's where I had him before the season. So I'll just leave him there. But he was kind of my, I don't know about it kind of guy. I don't know. I still am not convinced by all of his abilities as a passer. But as a runner and as a deep ball passer, he's still really, really fucking good. So that's good enough for me. I did have Trevor Lawrence up in the elite franchise QBs before Sunday, but I don't know, man. That's the second week in a row where he's kind of looked a little bit like last year Trevor Lawrence. So I bumped him down. Maybe he's not quite in the elite tier yet. I still have Aaron Rodgers here, which I don't know where he'll be after the Achilles tear, but I still think he's there. Lamar Jackson's still squarely there. I think Dak Prescott's still squarely there. Matt Stafford is back squarely there. Here's where I don't know where y'all will agree with me. I put CJ Stroud in the franchise quarterback tier already. I've seen enough through 3 games to think that he's going to be the truth. I don't really have any doubts about him anymore. I put Anthony Richardson in the franchise quarterback tier. Same thing. I've seen enough. I don't really think there's anything that he's done that would make me think he's not going to get there. And then I put Jordan Love in the franchise quarterback tier because he has been really fucking good this year.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Tell him, Brandon. What do you have?
Tell me why. Tell me
Wrong.
why.
Jordan Love has not looked great this year. He's looked
What
okay.
the fuck are you talking about? This
Did
is
you
what I
watch
mean.
the fucking
Spoiled
Saints
Tom
game?
Brady fan. He was fine. The Saints defense is really
Did you
good. And
watch
his
the
best
beginning
fucking
of it where he
receiver is
fucking whipped it
Romeo
wide open
Dubs.
4th down?
So people miss fucking throws. It happens. Aaron Rodgers misses throws. Trevor Lawrence misses. Would you take Jordan Love over, or would you take anyone in that tier below over Jordan Love?
Yes.
Who?
Absolutely. Jared Goff. I think
You have this weird thing
you got
about
this
Jared
weird
Goff.
hate
You have
boner
a
for
weird
Jared Goff.
fucking
No,
boner.
you got this weird hate
he's
boner for
good.
Jared Goff. I don't
Jared
get
Goff
it. He's
is
definitely
good.
proven that he's good. He's not just above average. At this point, the Lions...
Jared Goff is above average because every time he's played on a dog shit team, he looks like dog shit. That's the epitome of average.
What?
He's
So
fine.
Okay,
Yes.
that's a cop-out for Daniel Jones, but you won't do it for fucking Jared Goff?
Yeah.
I do. I put them in the same tier, didn't I?
It's not
They're in the same
thing.
tier. Yes, they are. It is the same thing. I said the exact same thing for Jared Goff as I say about Dan Jones. They're good on a good team. They're bad on a bad team.
You hate Jared Goff. You hate him.
Basically,
I don't hate Jared Goff.
Flip Jordan Love and Jared Goff because I think Jared Goff is at really, really high highs.
You think Jared Goff is a franchise quarterback?
He's had 2 really good seasons with the Lions and then solid seasons. He's at the very bottom of my franchise quarterback tier, but Jordan Love is not as good right now as Jared Goff is. Jordan Love
is in his 3rd start.
Yeah, he's in his 3rd year.
Jordan Love is making his 3rd start. Jared Goff.
Moderator.
Remember what Jared Goff looked like?
Dad, stop fighting. Okay. Mikey, I agree with your Jordan Love thing. Brandon is being mean. But Jared Goff needs to go up.
Good. He's picking
up. What are you talking about?
He's still above average, but he's not. Like, to say that he's franchise quarterback, he's played...
It's his 3rd game. It's a projection, but it's his 3rd game. He's going to get a lot better.
You can project it. That's fine. I'm okay with that. But I think taking a snapshot is how I'm doing it right now. Where are these quarterbacks right now? How good are you today? And he's not in the tier with...
Sure, fine. But then I wouldn't put Anthony Richardson or CJ Stroud in the franchise quarterback tier either.
That's exactly what I did.
It's...
All right, I'm okay with that logic.
I have to project a little bit, and I still think you're being harsh on Jordan Love. He had like 5... He only had 1 offensive line starter play this week. His receivers still aren't that good. It's basically a bunch of rookies and Romeo Dubs. Like, this is a completely new offense. It's not surprising that every once in a while him and his receivers aren't on the same page. And then I watched his film last night because I was kind of like, I don't know, I want to see what Brandon is seeing. And yeah, there's some throws that he misses, but I think most of his misses are just like miscommunications. It's a new receiver not knowing to cut it off at 10 routes instead of 8 yards. It's Jordan Love not realizing that Jordan Reed likes to break his routes to the outside instead of inside. Like, I'm not seeing accuracy and placement issues as much as I'm just seeing not on the same page yet, because when they're on the same page, every pass he's thrown and completed has been really, really fucking good. So I'm not really worried about accuracy at all. I was when he came out, but his accuracy has improved so much since he came out as a rookie. I think he's going to be fine once everyone gets on the same page.
Yeah, I mean, he's not like, I have him in the middle of above average or at the top of there. I don't remember exactly. But I didn't see his accuracy and placement as franchise quarterback. I don't hate the projection that he could be there, but there was that fourth down where he was just playing catch with the other receiver, basically, and he just fucking fell over. And then he tried to get up and he fell over again and he missed the wide open fourth down. And there were a lot of placement issues that I had seen. And like, I mean, the first half was a lot worse than the second half, for sure. He had a very good, especially fourth quarter. It was
I think the Saints defense had a really good game plan too. Like, they were confusing the shit out of Jordan Love in the first half.
I just felt like when he was hitting receivers that were open on a lot of the completions, the placement was like, oh my fucking God, how the fuck did that? Like, oh, that was almost a disaster. There was like a swing pass to AJ Dillon that was like, oh my God, there was a pass to Romeo Doubs that looked like he took the ball and just like chucked it forward without any throwing motion. It was like end over end. Well, it was I guess so ugly. It was open Doubs too.
I think that for me is the difference between the elite franchise QBs and like all of these guys down here: Lawrence, Rodgers, Dak, Lamar, Stafford, Stroud, Richardson, and Love. All of them could still have like a really bad first half. They're all still prone to doing something stupid every once in a while. That's why they're not in that tier up there. But to me, the difference between them and the average QBs, because this is how I evaluate it. It's like, if I dropped them all on an average team with an average coach, how would they do? That's kind of where I think about it, so that I don't get blinded by the, oh, so-and-so has this coach, so-and-so has that coach. And I just think that all those guys in the franchise QB tier could still carry a bad team, whereas I don't know about that yet with the average guys. I know that with everyone above that, but everyone below that, I'm kind of like, I don't know. I think they kind of need a little bit of a system to help them out. But I've seen enough from Jordan Love to think that if you plopped him on an, because he kind of is on an average team. He's on an average team with the Packers. The offense isn't anything special, and he's elevating them and they're winning.
Yesterday, the Packers were an average team, but otherwise, I totally fucking disagree. Their defense is so stacked.
Well, I'm talking about the offense. Like, the defense, obviously, the defense is awesome.
Good though. It's not average. It's better.
It hasn't been for 3 games. They still don't have Christian Watson back. Like, Romeo Doubs and Jordan Reed aren't exactly barn burners. Like, no one's really scared of either of them. Same thing with Luke Musgrave. Bakhtiari still hasn't fucking played a game yet. Elton Jenkins has been off and on all year. Like, I don't know. I think I've seen a lot from Jordan Love. I'm pretty happy with what I've seen.
I think he's looked pretty good in a just above average offense. So I have him in above average, but I suppose he could project to be better, but I don't think, taking a snapshot right now, he is a franchise quarterback.
Fine. I mean, I guess I can agree with that. That's fair. But yeah, I guess we just kind of evaluate it a little bit differently. Now we move on to the above average tier. I did put Tua there. I don't know. I still think that I think he has gotten better than he has been the last couple of years, but he still just has that noodle arm. So I don't know. I don't really see it with him fully yet.
That's exactly where I put Tua, actually. I have him as the top of my above average too. He's looked so...
He is knocking down the door, though.
In the system. Huh?
I was going to say, he's knocking down the door to the franchise quarterback tier. Like, he's looked really, really good this year.
Yeah, like it's kind of the same thing with Brock Purdy, where his supporting cast is elevating him, but he's still playing well.
Yeah. Except I don't know if Brock Purdy's really playing well anymore.
But just we'll
like talk about that later.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, his arm is really weak. His placement is typically pretty good, but it's not great, really, when his receivers aren't open. And I honestly think if I was guaranteed that he would be healthy over the next 3 years, I'd be okay putting him at the bottom of franchise quarterback. But I think that's not realistic.
No. Then I have Jared Goff next. And I'll explain my rationale. I like Jared Goff. Jared Goff is a good quarterback. I understand that. He is very, very good processor. He's very accurate. He is a good system quarterback. But there is a reason why the Lions were trying to replace him over the offseason, why the Rams had to replace him to go to the next level. He is limited in what he can do. I don't think Jared Goff can carry a team. When his team doesn't play well, when the offensive line is a little injured, when the run game isn't there, when the receivers aren't there, he doesn't step up. He just looks bad with everyone else. And that's kind of why that to me is the difference between the franchise QB guys and the above average guys. Is all these above average guys can look great in a Sean McVay team or a team with Jameson Williams and a great offensive line and a great run game and all these other weapons that he has with the Lions, and the weapons that he had when he played for the Rams. But when we saw him in his first year with the Rams, he looked like shit. When we saw him in his last year with the Rams, he looked like shit. When we saw him in his first year with the Lions, he looked like shit. And the common denominator, all of those places, was him. He was the problem. He was the problem in all of those teams. So that's kind of where I'm at with Jared Goff. I still think he's good, and I think he's gotten better. He's one of those guys who keeps getting better as he gets older. But I still I don't know. I just don't quite see it, which is disappointing because when he came out of the draft, I fucking loved Jared Goff. And maybe that colors my perception of him a little bit. I saw a lot more from him in college than I've seen in the pros. And I don't know, maybe that's part of my problem. But then I have Kyler. I think Kyler's like a classic. He is a system quarterback. He's got a lot of talent, but if the system doesn't perfectly fit him, he sucks. Kirk Cousins is kind of the exact same way. He's good, but he needs a good team. Daniel Jones, I just did a video about Daniel Jones. I like Daniel Jones. I think he's better than people think he is, but he's still a system quarterback who needs good players and good coaching around him. Bryce Young, kind of worried about Bryce Young. He hasn't looked very good for the first 2 weeks. And then at first I just kind of thought, well, it's the Panthers. The Panthers suck. But then Andy Dalton came in, and Andy Dalton actually looked pretty good with the exact same supporting cast. So that threw up some red flags for me. And I think that what concerns me about Bryce Young that's different from CJ Stroud and Richardson. Richardson and Stroud have already shown me that they've learned from a lot of the mistakes they made in college. They aren't making the same mistakes. Bryce, all the turnovers he's had this year are the exact same thing he was doing in college. He's getting tricked by a safety rolling down late, and he's not seeing it because he can't see over the line, and then he throws a pick. And that gives me concern. He has to win with his processing and his pre-snap reads, and he's not doing that yet. He probably will get there, but the reason I'm not willing to make the projection the same way I am with Richardson and Stroud is because it's the exact same stuff that worried me in college, so I'm not quite ready to make that leap. And then Geno, I had Geno down to mediocre until yesterday. Yesterday, I kind of saw a good Geno flash again. He looked pretty good. So I moved him back up to above average, but I was a little bit concerned about Geno. I'm
surprised you have Bryce in above average, honestly.
Because he already got outshowed by Andy Dalton.
And it's the small sample size. I would say it's mediocre at best. I mean, even when he did play full games, it wasn't anything special. It didn't look that promising.
Here's the thing, though. His first game he played, there were like 3 plays there's 3 deep shots that most other receivers would have completed, and they were perfect. He threw them perfectly. Like, the arm talent is there, the accuracy is there. It's just kind of not gone his way. One of them because the receiver dropped it, one of them because the receiver stopped running his route in the middle of it, and the other one because the receiver kind of lost it in the sun and it went over his head. But
there's plenty of quarterbacks that look great in the bubble if you just say their arm accuracy and everything is there. If they did 7-on-7, Jared Goff would be probably the best quarterback on it. But to limit it to 3 missed opportunities to give you an above average projection after we were just fucking yelling so hard for Jared Goff to get his place just a little bit above, it seems a little too light. And what he's really showing right now is just mediocre at best.
Yeah, I could be convinced. Him and Geno were on the bubble for me, where I was kind of like, I don't know if they're above average or not. I was probably just being a little bit kind to Bryce because he just hasn't done much. But I could be totally talked down into moving down to mediocre because you're right. He hasn't really done anything special outside of a couple plays. Otherwise, he hasn't done much, and I haven't been very impressed by him at all. On to the mediocre. I don't think anyone will have any debates about this, right? I have Russ, I think, is the epitome of mediocre right now. He hasn't been the Broncos' real problem this year. It's been that their defense has let up like 100 and something points in 3 games.
Yeah, honestly, it's pretty surprising. He is, I like where your placement there is top tier mediocre right now.
He is top tier mediocre. He's actually played pretty much fine this year. Like, he's not back to Russ, but he's been fine. Mac Jones, the epitome of mediocre as well. He's been fine. Derek Carr, I don't know what he is anymore. I think he's actually looked okay this season, but I still don't really think he's that great. I don't think he could carry a team, basically. Like, the Saints offense hasn't looked great. It's been their defense that's been fucking awesome. Kenny Pickett, bang average. I think Brock Purdy has looked bang average. In week 1, I thought he looked really good, but week 2 and week 3, I think he's kind of fallen. He's slowly starting to show us like why he went undrafted. His arm looks really, really weak. Like, he is airmailing and floating a lot of his passes, and if the receiver isn't wide open, he's kind of struggling to hit it right now. I mean, wasn't it that first drive against the Giants, his receivers had to break up like 3 interceptions?
Yes.
Like,
his team turns into prime Dion. They have to keep them alive. Unless it's like clutch time, you're not going to see anything special. I don't know if something just switches on and he starts actually hitting them when they're not completely wide open, and he doesn't need pass breakups to save his ass. But yeah, he's been looking a little. Good thing they're stacked.
Seriously, yeah, he gets bailed out a lot. Oh wait, Sam Howell. This is a holdover. I'm moving him down to not the answer. Jimmy G's been fine. I actually think Baker's been pretty good. I've been pleasantly surprised by Baker. He was down in the career backup tier for me earlier, but he looks fine now. Andy Dalton, bang average. Jacoby Brissett, bang average. I still have Ryan Tannehill here, but he is on thin ice. I'll say this. When I watched the Browns, because I watched their game too, because I wanted to watch the Browns defense. The Browns defense it's up there with the Niners and the Cowboys. It's just like, well, I don't know the Cowboys anymore, but it's up there with the Niners. Is just the most ridiculously talented and athletic defense that I've ever seen. Like, I don't really know what Ryan Tannehill could have done yesterday. He was either getting sacked or getting hit or, having to scramble, having no receivers open. Derrick Henry got shut down. Like, the Browns fucking manhandled the Titans yesterday. I don't know if I can really put that on Ryan Tannehill. So for now, after what he showed me in week 2, I still think there's still a little bit of juice there, but I don't know. It's looking dicey for him. Not the answer tier. Justin Fields is a disappointment. Justin Fields is a disappointment. It's really sad. Yeah. And I had the thought today where I was like, okay, but what if he didn't play for the Bears? Like, what if he played for Atlanta or something like that? Would he look different?
And his running would probably look a lot better, and there'd be a lot more design runs that are clever and have blocking schemes that are realistic. But I don't know. I mean, if you play the what if game, it just doesn't really fucking matter.
Yeah,
it's too late for that now. He's like 4 years in.
He's just not a good passer. He hasn't
Ritter
developed
sucks.
At all.
Ritter sucks.
Ritter's terrible. I feel very comfortable.
Y'all made me think I was crazy.
I feel
he couldn't even beat Mariota. That was my goal.
I thought he would look better, and he looked better last year than he has this year. So maybe he's just a slow starter, but I don't know. He looks pretty bad. Deshaun, he's on the bubble too. I don't know if he's mediocre or not. He's certainly not the answer in Cleveland. I don't think he's the guy that they were looking for. No, I think in actuality, he's kind of an average quarterback right now. Like, he looked okay last week, if not good. He looked good last week, frankly. Like, there were a couple bucket throws that he made, and if he didn't have that stupid backwards pass that he threw yesterday, I think people will be talking about him pretty glowingly. But instead, he popped out that meme, and everyone's laughing at him again. But
it doesn't help to evaluate what he really is, considering the defense completely gave up. They were on the field so much. You're going to get plenty of opportunities, especially how fast they were getting back on the field. Yeah.
But the pass game had to carry a little bit yesterday because the run game wasn't really there without Nick Chubb. And I think he did pretty good. I think if I'm being fair, he's probably in the average tier now, and he has potential to move up. If he keeps playing like he did yesterday, he's going to move back up into the above average, if not franchise quarterback tier, quickly. But his first 2 weeks were so fucking bad. I don't know if I can put him in higher than that. And Sam Howell. He really is everything that Baker. He's exactly like Baker Mayfield. They're twins in every way. Like, they just play so recklessly. His ball placement's all over the place. He doesn't care what kind of window he's squeezing it into. He's going to fucking chuck it. He takes a bunch of stupid hits, and he's going to start fumbling soon. He just plays completely out of control, and it's bad. It's bad. Will Levis gets his own tier. I'm not even going to talk about the rest of these guys. They're all backups, rightfully. So
everyone should be looked at for the Jets. Anyone who isn't signed needs to be looked at.
Every single one of these quarterbacks could make a difference for the Jets. Every single one. Like, the Jets are so fucking good. If they could, like, if the Jets wouldn't traded for Andy Dalton, they could win the Super Bowl with Andy Dalton. Like, and Andy Dalton, I don't even think Andy Dalton's that good, but they would win the Super Bowl with Andy Dalton. Jacoby Brissett, if they had Jacoby Brissett, they could win the Super Bowl with Jacoby Brissett. If they go get the dying husk of Matt Ryan, they could win the Super Bowl with Matt Ryan. I mean, fucking Carson Wentz would be better than Zach Wilson. At least Carson Wentz could give them somewhat competent NFL quarterback play.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. They're just, man, it's bad. It's bad. Zach Wilson's bad.